What's up, fight fans? My name's Abby, your Korean cowgirl, and I am here in Los Angeles at the Unbreakable Training Center with
Jason Mayhem Miller. I'll introduce myself.
Jason Mayhem Miller. And I'm super stoked to be here. You've got an amazing facility and awesome stuff going on. So tell me a little bit about Unbreakable.
Well, Unbreakable is one of the gyms I've been graciously invited to, and I mean, it's like one of those crazy Hollywood stories where you have a super sweet facility right in the middle of, you see where we are. We're on the Sunset Strip, so it's kind of like Famous Guy Gym, you know what I mean? I coach guys over at Fight Science down in Mid-City. It's kind of a grimy kind of feel, like, you know, a bunch of badasses down there. And then up at the SFC, which is in Sunland Valley, which is like Armenian beasts over there. So I like have this like weird Ronin warrior type thing where I get to coach a bunch of different athletes and be part of a lot of careers of a lot of different guys. And this place holds a special kind of thing in my heart because here's where the MVP program is, which is you know, merging veterans and players. It's an organization that helps veterans and kind of is a, you know, manly support group. Not just manly, because we have female members too, but kind of like a tough guy support, tough girl. I'm trying to be
Tough
PC
people.
here. Tough people support group.
Badasses.
And since like recently I've like undergone this big change where I realized mental health is like one of the most important things in your entire life, because I really neglected it, and I figured that, I don't know, you could just,
Talk your way through it.
yeah, you could gut it out no matter what. Instead, I realized that there's smarter ways, and you need a community in order to have your maximum mental health and be the best you can be, and, you know, not lose yourself in substance or mental problems. So MVP really like helped me out when I was just reintegrating into society. So a lot of our veterans get left out in the cold, like a lot of, you know, UFC fighters, same kind of, there's a lot of parallels there. So to me, having Unbreakable open the doors to MVP was like just a big thing, like just hit me with both barrels, you know? You know, cowgirl.
Absolutely. I mean, having that community, I think, is something that's so important to athletes in general, especially after they're not competing for themselves, because it's an extremely selfish thing. And then to transition into something like coaching, where you have to become ultimately selfless, it's sometimes a little bit of a paradigm shift that not everybody can
A
do.
lot.
And it seems like you've handled it very well.
I mean, not really. I gotta be honest with you. Like when I first retired from fighting, it was a strange thing where I couldn't really get it together. I got in so much trouble because I had this sort of super energy that had nowhere to direct it. And now that I realize, like, oh, I can direct it back into the people to make their careers better and their lives better, something has been like a total paradigm shift for me, where I feel so much better about my life because I have something to focus on and something to build. You know?
And then you get to share that with other people as well.
That's what I mean. And you know, it's all this knowledge that I accumulated from 20 years of fighting. It was going to waste for a good long time. It was for a few years where I was just kind of using it, you know, for the dark side. And I feel bad about that. You know, I really, for me to redeem myself, I have to put 100% effort into what I'm doing these days, you know, and it feels good. It's super, I don't know, super good. And to see the sport grow and change, and, you know, to, you know, even the next wave of people covering the sport is really beautiful to see, because I had imagined that this was going to be like this, but it happened a little slower than I anticipated. And now that it's here, I'm so happy to be a part of it.
You're ready to roll with punches.
I am.
For people who have competed and then people who move into coaching, I always like to ask which one they prefer.
I mean, look, there ain't nothing like going out there in front of all those people, you know what I mean? But there's something truly satisfying about seeing a dude go through a 6-week camp and having a goal and helping him reach that goal, or her. I've worked with female fighters before where you see them like develop a new skill, and that's a different kind of like joy. It's not the cameras in your face as much, but it's definitely like fulfilling, like on a, I guess like a parental kind of level. Like I can only imagine it's the same as when you see your kids graduate or whatnot. I see my friends on Facebook, their kids do this or that, and they feel so proud of it, and that pride, that will carry you over to the next level.
For sure, and you bring a plethora of experience for your students. You've competed in like every combat sports arena that exists.
Yeah, almost.
Almost everywhere. So if there was one fight in your career that you could go back to and run it back, maybe somewhere fun like bare knuckle or karate combat, who would you be calling out?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's like a weird hypothetical, isn't it? It's like some kind of magical, I don't know. What are you asking? Like where? Oh, today's.
You want to run it back
Look,
in something
I don't know.
fun.
Like today's, like martial arts. Like I always thought that it would be cool to have the ramps instead of the cage. And like I see karate combat doing that. That's super badass. Like the current landscape of mixed martial arts. I'm hoping that one of these things will catch fire. I see bare knuckle is super. They really getting some momentum behind them. And that karate combat is really kick-ass, even for like good grappling only events. They're becoming very, I don't know, the evolution of combat sports is really interesting to watch. We're in like a new era of things blowing up. There's fight circus out there in Thailand. There's like a...
Have you seen BYD Extreme, the thing where they fight in the big triangle?
I have, yeah.
What do you think of that triangle? What do you think about the triangle?
That's pretty badass. I haven't seen it effectively used, like to, I don't know, I haven't seen enough of it to really give a nuanced opinion, but I think it's badass. Like I said, the evolution of the sport, the combat sports is giving the fans like a total brand new look at martial arts. I really appreciate it.
Now, you used to do a show called Bully Beatdown.
Yeah.
If you could pick any fighter from the current landscape of combat sports to be the guy that steps in to beat down the bullies, who do you think you'd
Man, there's a variety, huh? What's the guy's name? Dylan Dennis. That guy's funny, bro. That guy should come in and beat up some guys. And what's the Kevin Holland would be? Oh man,
because he trash talks
he
all
would
the
just
time.
be a brutal. Yeah, he would just be he would be nice to get in there. Who else could beat up the bullies? There'd be like, I don't know, there'd be a wide variety of really good fighters to do it these days. Sam Alvey, he'd be badass.
I love that guy,
yeah,
Sam
he's
Alvey.
great. Like there's so many great characters in the sport now, and I'd like to think that I helped usher that in. When I was doing it, it was really like frowned upon, kind of like everybody was like, oh, it's not taking it serious. It's not like, but no, the fans want to see a personality go win. McGregor is like, everybody wants to be McGregor nowadays, and I don't think anybody can be him. They just have to be themselves, and it's like, it's really beautiful that the sport is getting,
It's respectful.
colorful.
It's respectful now, too.
Yeah, respect. Yeah. Well, here's the thing: is that there's a weird line that you have to dance as a fighter, where you should show respect to your opponent because he has, the courage to stand against you, and there's a line. The fans don't like it if you're completely disrespectful to the guy, but they also don't like it if you're if you're just being simple-minded about it. You have to give it your all. It's a beautiful time for martial arts.
What advice do you think you would give to a young fighter getting in as far as building their brand and becoming their own personality to compete with big personalities like a Sean O'Malley or like a McGregor? Because a lot of fighters are very talented, but you have to be a total package.
Well, yeah, the reality is people can smell fake. So you have to be authentic. I believe that any fighter that wants to kind of build his brand has to take what he really is, or she really is, and then be a bit hyperbolic. Like, be a bit...
Dial it up to 11.
Yeah, like, be who you are, but when the camera's rolling, show it. You can't, like, leave anything behind. You know, you gotta put it all on the table and, like, let everyone know this is who I am. And you have a limited amount of media opportunities to do that. You have small press conferences, or, you know, you have weigh-ins. You have to show who you are, but in an authentic way. Because if you fake it, they're gonna know.
Absolutely. So, now everybody has to give a Mount Rushmore. If you had to put 4 combat sports athletes on Mount Rushmore.
Why are we always doing Mount Rushmore these days, okay? I mean, all right, fine.
You can give me a funny one if you want.
Oh, Mount Rushmore. Why is everybody playing around Mount Rushmore these days?
Everybody wants to know.
I mean, look, I already said this before. You got to put Anderson up there, right? I guess you got to chisel in Connor on the side, right? He's the guy, you know. And then what? Don Fry, but I don't know if they can get the mustache right. You know, you gotta get that mustache in there. And then what? You gotta go real old school to Hoist Gracie. See, now I run out of people already. What the hell? I can do the Himalayas of martial arts, really, you know, if I keep thinking back, because every generation builds on the last, and it just keeps going up and up until you get to Mount Everest of mixed martial arts fighters. And, you know, you're not fair, cowgirl.
Fair enough. What if I asked you for a Mount Rushmore of fighters that were influential to you in your career?
Oh, man. You know, like, during my era, like, Pride was, like, the biggest thing, you know? And so there was, like, you know, even Coleman got over there to Pride, and that really solidified it. And Bart Coleman was, like, the dude that I pestered at the small show. And so now I'm patient with guys when they come up to me and go, hey, Mayhem, and they start hitting me with all these questions. So I'm real patient, because Mark Coleman, like, just told me to screw up. Like, because I was like, hey, man, so what do you eat, and what do you eat? And I was like a little kid, you know, like, and he was like, dude, what is this kid? Because I just wanted all the knowledge that I could get from him, because I didn't know if I'd ever see him again. And I did, years and years later, and we grappled and stuff, and that was really good. But, you know, the Sakuraba, who I defeated later in my career, you know, he was a big influence, because he wasn't the strongest guy, or, you know, the most, like, I don't know, like, physically imposing, but he, like, was very creative and very, like, do whatever it takes to get the job done. So that really inspired me, you know, and yeah, that was a really big deal for me when I was younger, as far as the fights went. And then, you know, and some of my contemporaries, like Anderson Silva, like, I really admired his calmness in the cage, and, like, the way that he moved and could pick guys apart when to stand up. And then, you know, it's weird, because when you're a professional fighter, there's overlap. There's, like, when you're in the kid phase and you're, like, just starting to train and figure it out, and then you're fighting your heroes. Like, suddenly you're in there with them in the training room, or inside the cage in the ring, you're fighting them. So there's a strange, like, fuzzy area where now you have to be your own hero. And, you know, that's what I'm watching some of my students turn into. Like, they're going from, you know, looking at me with big eyes to, like, yeah, well, yeah, of course I'm here. Of course I'm, you know, obviously I built myself up into this guy. And that's awesome.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So, what was the moment for you that made you decide that this was the thing for you, combat sports?
I mean, probably when I choked my dad out with a triangle choke when I was like 17. Sorry, Dad. Sorry about that one. But, you know, you got me with the graviton in the couch, so I had to get it on you. Sorry. But, yeah, I think Or you know what? It might have been before that. When a friend of mine, Pierre, holler at him, he was much smaller than me, but he understood the techniques of jiu-jitsu and had gone to enough seminars and done enough training, where then when we had it out in the backyard, he choked me flat out. I said, oh man, there's two ways you can go when you face that kind of defeat, is like, oh man, like that was too much. But my mindset was, no, I have to learn from you now.
It's like, I don't want that to happen again.
Or just, I have to learn that so I can do that to people, because if it works for you and you're smaller than me, or in my rudimentary mindset when I was a kid was, well, yeah, if I'm strong, if he's bigger than me, then maybe, whatever, if I lose, it's because he's big. Nah. It's a superior technique and conditioning and strength all come together to make a win. And yeah, after that happened, when I was that young, it really like lit a fire within me. And I'm seeing it all the time. Guys come to the open mat at New Ground Jiu-Jitsu, and they just, I got a 15-year-old kid over there that he just comes every Sunday like clockwork, and I can see that he went from kind of bumbling around, and he's like fired up, and he's asking me more questions, and now he's like he's going to wrestling practice all the time. He's training, and I'm like, that's the way. Let that fire burn.
Mm-hmm. And do you have any words of encouragement for young athletes coming up in the sport, or anyone who would be looking to getting into it?
No. You gotta give yourself that pep talk. You gotta
decide for
find
yourself.
Yes, you gotta do it. I can pep talk. Look, I pep talk guys on Cameo till I'm blue in the face. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, I'll pep talk you, no problem. But at the end of the day, my pep talk can only go so far. That thing has to burn inside you. It has to like pick up, and you have to get that self-motivation, just like I do, just like everyone else does, to go to that next level on their own. So my pep talk is figure out how to pep talk yourself.
All right. Well, I thank you so much for the time. You've been amazing and incredibly generous. So thank you, and again.
You keep doing your thing. God bless you.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Woo! Hey, MVP.